With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
It's Saturday and the game is on. 10 minutes.
That was a peek inside Thad's head there, and it was chaos.
Oh, you do not know how much I can at times be going like, oh, I just want to slit somebody's.
Whoa.
And I don't.
Got me drinking. Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another episode of the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. We are in the studio. It is a powder keg right now. Thad Bell is more fired up than I've seen him in a long time.
I am not happy. I want wins.
Thad has a hat on, and the steam is actually lifting the hat off his head. So that's how fired up he is.
Cody complains about my hair, so I kept my hat on today.
There's a lot to get to, but I don't want to start this off all negative. There was 2 very big wins this weekend in Kansas City soccer. I'm not all that mad right now. I have a rant to do today, but I'm not all that mad. 2 big wins, Thad.
2 big wins and a mediocre draw and a bad draw.
Another game happened also after the Current and the Comets. You did both of the games, right, Thad?
I went to the first half of the Current versus Bay City, and I did the second half plus at Sporting versus St. Louis. Pictures at both. Fast drive.
Did you and Daniel Sperry race from one stadium?
No. I actually was going to offer to see. First, he wasn't going to do that, but I was going to offer to just carpool. But I ended up staying to get a few photos out for Cindy to do the recap. So I left a few minutes after him. And then I have the putting up the camera so it safely travels that he doesn't have because he just ambles over to his car, hops in, and drives at 100 freaking mile an hour.
He said he abided by all the traffic laws. He said 32 minutes. Didn't speed once.
I am pretty sure that's not what he said to me.
Well, we very much appreciate you lugging that equipment from one stadium to another. That is where we get all of our photos. There are many other sites throughout the country that are like us that don't have those photos.
Yeah, they just steal them.
Exactly, from you.
Well, from people better than me, too. But they just steal them. So we are legitimate.
So there is a lot for us to get to. Thad's fired up. There are rants to be had. We want to cover the Current, the Comets. There's a larger discussion about the state of the team and Peter Vermes' comments after the game last night. But let's just do this rationally and logically. Let's talk about the game first, because it was a lot of fun. That's 2 weeks in a row that were close to being perfect, that were beautiful nights of soccer that show the progress of the sport in this game. They would have been perfect if we got the wins. And I was with a person that was at their first ever soccer game. I was sitting next to another person that was at their first ever soccer game. And what a game to be had.
That wasn't fun. If you were an independent observer that had no rooting interest in anything, maybe it's fun.
I mean, there was a lot to like. Beautiful goals, golazos, big saves. Timmy had a big save.
The atmosphere.
Atmosphere was big. Lead changes. But it did suck.
I think it sucked if you were a fan of either team, quite honestly. If you were an independent observer, didn't care, it was fun.
Well, if you listen to Peter Vermes, it was entertaining, and that seems to be all that matters. He's not worried about it. I'm sorry, we're going to get to that. Let's talk about the goals first.
Yeah, let's talk about the goals. I mean, first goal, they posted it on Twitter, Champagne Soccer, and that's what it was. That first goal was impressive. That is how William Agata and Alan Pulido are supposed to work together, right?
Oh, my God. We saw it for the first time,
yeah,
right?
That's how it's supposed to be all the time.
We saw it in action for the first time, that those two can play on the field together. Truly a beautiful goal all the way from midfield. We had a flick. We had 1-2s. It was absolutely incredible. Everything we wanted to see. And where I was at in the Cauldron for that, I was the first person in the stadium to know that it was a goal off his foot. It was just he kicked that ball directly at me, where me and my
Nice.
friends were at in the Cauldron.
Nice.
Yeah, see, that okay, maybe that's part of it. It was a fun night. I had a very fun night. It was one of my friend's birthdays. I had a group and I don't always get to sit in the Cauldron, and I sat next to a fan. Just happened to sit next to like an avid listener of this show.
Give a shout out.
August was a listener. He says he listens to every episode.
Greetings, August. Appreciate you.
Thank you for listening, August. And he was one of them that brought his friend, was at his first ever game. And that guy had a grand old time because it was a good day of soccer.
And it was 420 as well. Let's not forget that.
That's right. Trust me, I did not forget that.
There may have been some happy people for reasons other than soccer and munchies.
Oh, that might explain some things then. Oh, okay.
Back to that first goal. There was a lot of players on the field. Even Leibold was involved. Wasn't he the one that had the flick?
Yes. He was involved. Shallowy was involved.
A whole team goal. And I wanted to give shout out to Leibold there because he's taken some heat. And we're going to get to him on that last goal.
So you're trying to be nice before you trash him? Is that
a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit.
Trying to just give a little highlight there.
St. Louis's first goal. If you just look at it quickly, looks like a great pass. Klaus, that's an exact Klaus goal right there. He runs onto them. He makes the runs, which he did. But that pass was not intended for Klaus.
And there are people that think it is.
Yes. St. Louis retweeted that, and every comment on there, what a pass. I saw retweets, absolutely insane pass. And the guy, Rasmus is his name, literally puts his hands up in the air, showing you he made a bad pass. He was passing it to another player. Klaus did good. I'm giving him credit there. He was playing soccer. You make runs, you make things happen. He did that. Yep. But the assist was an accident. I'm going to take away all three of their goals while we do this, by the way.
Well, I think it was more of a case of the guy he passed it to didn't react the way he wanted to. He's like, I gave you a great pass.
Yeah.
Yes,
the guy didn't keep running.
Yes, the guy he passed it to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
And someone else got it, so it was an accident.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you.
But the goal scorer did what he's supposed to do. You're supposed to make runs to different areas in the box, and he was there. He scored it. He did the right thing, even if the other guy didn't. The pass was not exactly to him. But it was a good pass because it curled in to where a guy could run onto it. So it was good in that regard.
Second goal, stunner, well done. Like you're saying, an objective soccer fan, you would love to see that. But it should not have existed. Absolute foul. What are we doing here? What are we doing?
What are we doing?
Are you saying it was too physical?
I'm saying it's not rugby. It's not football. Okay, with every foul call.
You can't do that to a wide receiver.
With every foul, you're right. You're right about that. With every foul call, you could make an argument either way, almost all the time. So I understand, shoulder to shoulder, whatever. Enough jibber jabber about all of that. If the referee blows his whistle after that play, not one human, even the worst St. Louis fan, is going to go, oh, that's not a foul. What? He threw him across the field.
What are we doing?
It was a little physical, yes.
Thad, are you disagreeing with that?
No, it was. I do believe it was a foul.
Well, don't both sides me on this.
I'm also not that shocked that it wasn't called. I'm not that shocked because that kind of play was going on.
Yes, that is the key part of this discussion. They did out-physical Sporting Kansas City, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on the pod earlier this week that physicality was going to be a big thing in this match.
You called it.
And Sporting did not look like they were prepared for it. And what we ended up doing is we ended up bitching to the ref more than we did. There was a play where Radia got fouled. And what does he do? No calls made. The play keeps going. What does Radia do? He walks over to the ref and starts yelling at the ref while the play is still going on. You can't handle it that way.
Shallowy, the captain, got a yellow for yelling at the ref.
It was weak-willed.
The 2013 Sporting team would have killed them.
I know. That's
exactly.
That's what's unique about this. I feel like for so long we've had the team that does do that.
It was a few years. It was 2012, 2013, 2014.
Hey, Roger Espinoza was on this roster last year.
And he was in the locker room last night, and I so wanted to go up to him and say, Roger, we need you back on the field, man. Because here's what needed to happen. The moment that more than 3 fouls happened, 3 or more, or somebody got hacked down on Kansas City hard by a St. Louis player, we had to either A, retaliate, or just get in that guy's face and say, hey, you're not doing that, my player. Stand up for your own player. But neither of those things happened.
That is exactly it. You have to show something. If Sporting Kansas City does take it to the next level, which St. Louis was threatening the whole time, if Sporting Kansas City defends themselves either by retaliating or making this into a big deal and there's an almost fight, the referee knows he has to get control of things.
Yeah.
And then that play doesn't freaking happen where Agata gets thrown to Nebraska Furniture Mart.
That's a yellow card. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it would have been the old steakhouse about that direction. But anyway.
And, St. Louis fans are saying, Agata made exaggerated that he rolled and rolled and rolled. No, he was blown off the ball, which, kind of looked cool, but it's a foul.
He actually stood up really quick. I mean, maybe he rolled. He rolled to jump up.
He didn't
really
exaggerate
quickly.
it. Yeah.
No, that was insane. I don't know what we're doing.
Okay, so we'll keep going, man. Because are we going to talk more about refs?
Yeah,
I have a
that's part of the rant here.
I have a question.
Well, let's keep going through the goals. Because as I've been taking away their first two, we also had an own goal.
Yeah, I disagree that it was an own goal myself.
It was definitely an own goal, but...
So, Berkey tries to make a save, and what he does is he changes the rotation and direction of the ball, and it goes in his own net. He's a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
What, are you going to call every save that a keeper tries to make an own goal when he doesn't make the save and it goes in the net?
Would it have went in the net if Berkey had not touched it?
Yeah, was he blocking a cross or was he blocking a shot?
Yeah, but there's instances where a goalkeeper, makes a save and pushes it maybe outside the bar. It may have hit the post or something like that.
Yeah.
So how's that different?
I don't think it's a own goal, but I can see why some people might think that. It's not, though.
Whatever you want to call it, Daniel got a sniff of the goal. And all this talk about subs that didn't happen, I do have some defense there for Vermes because Daniel got a sniff of goal. Like I just said, I don't want to take him off the field after that. Is Vargas going to change the game over Daniel after that? I don't know. Anyway, we'll get to the sub discussion later. Because
so many discussions to be had.
I know. Because soon after that, Eric Tommy, 77th minute, insane ball from Fonte.
Did he mean it though?
That's actually a good point because I watched back after seeing the headlines of what a ball from Fontes on this. I'm like, okay, well, let's make sure that he wasn't just clearing it up the field.
Were you trying to be fair?
Yeah, I was. And no, that was
his mistake.
That was dead on. There was eye contact, and he made the run, and he hit him perfectly in stride.
Yeah, Tommy said that they talked about it actually, at halftime and even before that earlier this week about things like that over the top. So
very well taken from a very hot player right now, Thad.
Eric Tommy, man, the German archer.
He's been firing a lot of arrows lately.
And he had that good little pose and celebration there after the goal.
Now, if you guys have been watching Eric Tommy, great scoring goals lately. But, in the first, 8 games we've had, 9, don't remember the number, sorry.
9.
His defense has always been questionable. But last night, he lost possession of the ball about maybe 15 yards into City's end. And he pursued the guy and got the ball back about
which city?
30 or 40 yards. 30 or 40 yards the other way into Sporting's own end. So I was impressed with that, fighting like that. And that's a form of fight that we showed well. I think there were moments where we fought well. We just didn't fight the physical play like we should have.
It was entertaining.
Tommy did actually level a couple people, though.
Yeah.
So I think they showed more fight in the second half. I don't know if that's where we're going to get to that later, but they definitely showed more fight. And I think that was also when Russell came in.
So the third goal that I'm going to take away from them, 92nd minute. I said this last week that they play that game that Crystal Palace plays against Manchester City. And this is the goal. These are the goals that Crystal Palace scores against Manchester City. Headers bouncing from back and forth in the midfield. And Daniel clears it, and it just goes right to their guy. It fell right to them. It's just really unlucky, insanely unfortunate that Daniel sticks his foot in there, and it ends up being a perfect pass to St. Louis. But then the problem was Tim Leibel just entirely selling out for that, Robert.
Yeah, you can't leave your feet in that situation. He probably didn't know he was more or less the last man there, but you've got to stall that. You've got to think about, hey, we're in the last 2 minutes here. We've got to slow them down. We've got to do something. The last thing you want to do is leave your feet and go for the slide tackle.
You can leave your feet. You just better take that dude the hell out. Yeah. Clean him out. And that's what he did not do.
That's another way to go, yes.
Ball or balls, one or the other.
Yeah, Leibold is an interesting one. I think he has shown a lot. There's a lot I've liked about him, but there are moments like that, Robert. You're giving me a face. Where do you stand with Tim Leibold right now?
I mean, I think St. Louis showed it last night that both our wide backs have trouble with pressure.
Yeah.
They do. They make mistakes in that situation. And, we all probably would make mistakes. We all make mistakes every day. But these are professional players who need to learn from these things. And maybe Jake needs some time from his suspension to sit down and kind of reflect a little bit. I don't know. But our wide backs have definitely been susceptible to that pressure.
And Jake will sit down for at least a game.
Yeah.
Did you steal that take from Josh Wallace in our Slack?
I did. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.
Well, it's okay to have a same take, but you should, now you got to definitely credit him. Now you've admitted to taking it. That's like,
yeah.
Cody
I cornered you there.
I mean, that's like admitting to guilt in the court of law. This is like court of podcasting.
Before I unleash that in the second segment, do we have any other positivity from this game? No one else enjoyed the beautiful soccer of last night. It was just me. See, it was because I was in the Cauldron. I was with friends. I don't always get to do that. We missed the magic in the press box.
Oh, it was a hell of a game. I mean, I was trying not to go off my seat when certain things were happening, but the environment was great. The St. Louis fans, I mean, can I say they're great? Is that okay to say? Because they brought it. They brought it. And both teams brought it. So you can't ask for more in a derby, right?
Both teams brought it.
You can ask for a damn win, man.
So it was entertaining,
but
you're saying.
For me, this was the first game this year that I had actually sporting score on my end.
Oh, wow.
And so because I've always been on the wrong end for every other goal. Almost every goal period this year has been on the other end. And I was fortunate and happy that I got to see how the lights worked with the lighting and all that type of stuff. Because with the new lighting, they turn it dark, but except for the end where the goal is, so the photographers can still get shots of people celebrating. And Shallowy runs the other way, runs across behind the goal, so I can't see him. And then he runs up the sideline, and he runs off into darkness. And I'm like, is this a metaphor for this damn game?
It's too true. That's a very nice picture, but it's all too true.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Peter Vermes' comments after the game, Thad.
Man, I did not necessarily think they were well-chosen words.
They were not well chosen. You're exactly right about that.
I kind of get what he means. I mean, I shouldn't say kind of get. I get what he means, but at the same time, you got to read the room. You got to understand the fan base. They're not happy.
But the question is just about, why is this team not able to see out games in which they're winning? Peter Vermes says, I think you guys are all focused on that, and I think you guys maybe you missed the game. It goes on, and then he finishes with, you guys are worried about it. I'm not. Now, Thad, I think you and I are actually on the same page a lot here. I could adamantly defend Peter Vermes against the haters.
Yes.
Coming from his position, what more do you guys need to see from me? Did you not watch last year? Why are you doubting me on this? That's the kind of killer instinct that is maybe annoying to us as humans, but that's what has made him successful all this time. That he is just like that. He knows what he wants.
He has earned benefit of the doubt for a lot of cases, but he also needs to understand that when you say it that way, fans in media are going to take it the wrong way. Yes, of course, fans are going to be worried about not closing out games. Of course, media is going to ask about that. It's not a one-off game. If they had 2 or 3 wins, that game last night, it sucked because we didn't beat St. Louis. But it's a one-off. It's not a one-off. It's not a 2-off. It's 3, 4. How many now?
Exactly. It is a theme, and I just don't like that he has to act like it's not the right question or that he shouldn't have to answer this question. What does the record have to be? How many goals do they have to give up after the 75th minute before we're allowed to ask this to you, Peter Vermes? The record after the 75th minute right now, they've conceded 11 and they've scored 2. Again, I understand all of this. I think a lot of us believe that this team is going to go on a run here soon. They're going to win a bunch of games at some point because that's what they do. They're close to it, and at some point, some of these results are going to turn to wins. But objectively, did our coach just say that fans and media are not watching the game? Are you kidding me? There was a sold-out stadium of people watching that game, and they watched you again blow a lead.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Because, again, I understand that he probably has earned the right. Oh, no, I should say probably. He's earned the right to have lots of leeway and stuff like that. How they played last year after the terrible 10 games. Team's way ahead of where they were at this point last year. But they could be way ahead. They could be in the top 5 or top 4 right now. How many goals have they scored in the last 3 games? What? 8?
8, I think.
And they got 2 ties and a loss. If you score 8 goals, especially the fact that they were all at home. Okay, technically 2 at home and 1 was a neutral site game, but they were technically all home games. You gave up that right to that home game, but you scored 8 goals. There should be at least 2 wins. Maybe 2 wins and a tie, 3 wins. Should be.
I'm not a Peter Vermes hater. I'm not just bullshitting.
We're not.
I acknowledge that this game was entertaining. I did it at the beginning of this show. I had a really fun night. The Messi game was a really fun game. I'm disappointed with the results. But objectively, his response to this and just acting like this isn't a thing, when you know today, tomorrow in practice, he's talking about this very thing. Why can't we close out this win? How do we fix this? If you're not talking about that, then what the hell, man? If you just contrast that answer to what Johnny did, standing there in the media, talking about this issue, being very open about it. He stood there and just took it from the media. And his manager is just like, how dare these people question me?
In that situation, you are the one that everybody's coming to for answers. You have the power, if you will. And it's a missed opportunity on Peter's part because he could explain what he's doing to change it. He could explain how it makes him feel, how it makes the team feel.
Exactly.
He could do those things, but he didn't. So missed opportunity.
That's what I mean.
Again, now I'm going to have to flip sides for a second because, God dang it, I have to do this all the time. But what do you say? You say we're working on it. You think I don't know it? I mean, he's said this a couple times, right? He's not going to detail out other than we work on these things every day. We play competitive games. He said this stuff after I think the Miami game. We do all these competitive things to raise competition levels and have people focused on winning and people locked in and stuff like that. Because, I mean, what do they do to be better other than gain confidence, be more locked in? I know people will call for subs to be more rested.
Thad, you have just given a million different things that Peter Vermes could have and probably should have said. It doesn't all have to mean a lot, but show that you're mad about this.
In some defense, he has said everything I just said in some form over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, but so then this game, stop asking me about it. This is stupid. I'm not worried about it.
Again, trying to defend him in this case because he deserves at least a good defense like every person does in a court of law. He probably isn't worried about it in the same way that we are because he sees signs that the team's getting better, whether we see it because of the final result, right? He's seeing data. This was a 3-3 game. It was a last-minute game. It wasn't a 3 goals in 8-minute collapse versus LA. It wasn't it didn't take a Messi to friggin' score a goal to create a loss, right? In a neutral site game. This was a crazy rival game. If this was against Portland, if this was against a mediocre middle of the table team, it probably ends up being a win. Not a guarantee because this team has sometimes failed in those too.
And I'm trying to defend him as well. He is probably right. I believe that he's right. Like I said, I think most of us think they're going to go on a winning streak. They're not as bad as these results have been showing. It is entertaining. I had fun. I just think it is objectively weird, the situation that we're in, that the head coach of our team, his haters and the people that seems to be motivating him are his own fans. And like, that's who he's talking to and pushing back against in all of this. It's just a very weird dynamic. That I found that to be very unprofessional. This is a real problem. You don't have to say that we're going to fix it by doing this. Show that you're angry like the fans. I'm mad. Say that, Peter. Like, get up there and say, we need to fix this. We've tried some things. We're going to try some more. Like, just say anything. You don't have to act like we're stupid for seeing all of these dropped points. And again, I know you might be right, but you're a professional manager of an MLS club and you're the longest tenured one. You know how to treat the media. I cannot believe that the coach of Sporting Kansas City accused the fans or media or whoever he was talking about of not watching the games.
It definitely had to be a better way of phrasing it. I am not going to argue that in any way, shape, or form. Robert, you want to chime in, man?
I'm watching
me and Cody have been ranting.
I'm watching Cody exhale over there. So
I took a very vigorous drink.
Yes, he does say earlier, I think we did well to fight back. We did well to put ourselves in a good position. The guys fought, etc.
Yeah, all true.
I mean, and obviously his comment that he's not worried about it is he's showing confidence in his players. But again, I mean, I can't say anything more that you guys have. He's trying to say, hey, we're doing everything we can, but it just comes off, you guys are worried about it, I'm not, as in, we want you to worry about it a little bit more, Peter, because you're our leader.
Well, have no doubt that he's worried about it, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I have no doubt about that.
I mean, you can tell by his demeanor that he's not happy.
I also think that there was comments made last night that he was definitely pointing out some other issues that he did not mention by name, and that was how the refereeing went, especially in the first half when St. Louis was just running over SKC every time they got a chance, and in the second half when Sporting was coming back and playing a little more physical, we were sometimes getting called for the stuff that we were complaining about earlier, which is what happens when you complain to refs and then do the same thing. But that was not a great example of reffing last night if you want a nice, pretty game. St. Louis doesn't want a nice, pretty game. They play to that. They know how to play to that. We've played that way a decade ago. I understand that. But was the refereeing part of the issue last night? And was it objectively better than the replacement refs?
Yes, both of those. I say yes to both of those things. An absolutely insane no call on that goal. But again, it's all fine. I have all of the defenses for Vermes. He wasn't wrong. There's that line he alluded to about playing against more than just St. Louis. It's alluding to the refs. I get it. That's happened. It seems like we get screwed a lot. But there are a lot of people so the Vermes out crowd echoes Thad's something I think you said when you walked in here. And you kind of just said, I'm tired of it.
Right.
We're not disagreeing with anything he said. And we most of the time don't. Over the last however many years, we don't necessarily disagree with specifically what he's saying. We see the merits to what he says. It makes sense.
Yes.
But how long? How long have we been doing this? How much longer do we have to do this?
Objectively, I understand how hard it is to manage an MLS team and keep them in contention every year or most years, or come back from bad situations and injuries. And last year coming back from 10 terrible games, of course you had a couple of DPs coming back off of injury that you could look forward to. We don't really have that this year. But again, the fan side of me, because I play two sides. I try to be objective as a person in media, but I am a fan of the team. So I don't like losing. I don't like, I didn't enjoy the Messi game because it was a loss. Okay. If Sporting had won that 5-1 and Messi scored a goal, I would have declared it a victory at that point. But I am a fan. I don't like the team not playing well. I want it to be better, and I want them to do better. And I know Vermes knows more about soccer than I do. I know Kerry Zavagnin knows more about soccer than I do. I know Zoran Savic knows more about soccer than I do. I just want them to be better. The fan side of me is like passionate about it, right? I care. The media side of me is like, okay, I understand where there's this problem, they could play better, they could do this, maybe they work on this in practice, maybe a new player in the summer window, whatever. But the fan side of me still walks out of the game going, shit.
He could have just said something along these lines. Hey, I know if we keep doing this, it's going to bite us in the ass. We're going to change it. We're working to change it, and we will change it. Simple, something, 2 lines would have changed the whole perspective and feeling around that.
In some defense, though, I'm coming off the field mad as a fan. I don't have a question I can ask because I've only seen a little over a half. And I know it's the same question that we asked before. And he's answered in various different ways.
Sure.
There's no question for me to ask, right? And kudos to Sperry and whoever else may have asked some questions last night. They have to ask those questions. And those are valid questions. But at the same time, if Peter's pissed off, he's pissed off about the refereeing. He's pissed off that they gave up another goal, that it was a unlucky bounce from Shallowy, that Leibel didn't take the guy out, or et cetera, et cetera. He's pissed off about all these things that was not under his control at that time. And then he gets asked, why you keep doing this? Well, he's probably pissed off and he should have a better answer. We're sitting here gaming the answer a day later. So in defense, he's pissed off and doesn't want to give an answer. I know it's his job, and he does it every week, and he does it twice a week, quite honestly, or 3 times a week because of media availabilities. And it just sucks to be in that position. And I don't think I would be one of these Vanni Sartini guys ranting and raving about shit. So to me, he's got better control than I do in that regard.
So Cody on our Slack channel after this match, maybe he should have been in the press room and he could have asked this question. Why can't we just have one nice thing?
I was like, oh, crap, what did I say? I was kind of drunk at this game, so I was like, oh, man, what did I say in the Slack? Yeah, that's what it felt like, you know?
What was my answer to him? I just said, go root for the Current.
Yeah. All right, then.
That everything you said was correct about what was going through Vermes' head. Sometimes I don't like that you both sides everything, but that one was probably worth it. But the thing that gets me is just the putting yourself in opposition of Sporting KC Nation, quote unquote, or the media. The quote that I have pulled up here from Sperry, they don't show the actual question that was asked in the recap of the pressers. They add a line that is not the actual question. But I believe the actual question was about fans. Like it said something about fans not being happy or something like that. I could be wrong, but
I don't remember the exact question.
He's done this before. He at the end of last year when he was proving all of the haters wrong, which again he did. And haters, don't forget that because he might do it again.
Let's hope.
But it's still an odd thing that you're putting yourself in opposition of the fans and the media that supports you and all of that. It's just an interesting dynamic that we're in.
Well, and I want to add to that or clarify a little bit. He puts himself in the opposition to some fans, like ones that, chanting Vermes out.
Yeah.
And I understand why. I mean, it's personal at that point, right? He felt that he deserved a lot more rope, if nothing. He deserved a lot more leeway for a bad.
Maybe that was a bad choice of words.
For a bad start, right? He deserved more, freedom there, whatever words you want to use. And I get that. I also understand why fans were unhappy with how the first 10 games went last year. It's better this year, and fans are starting to get unhappy again. There's always a Vermes out crowd. Even they could win 5 games in a row and have one bad game, and there'll be people showing up in Facebook saying, I told you Vermes should be fired. And the other coach would have won that game. Oh, bullshit.
Right.
That I don't know that we have accurately captured your angst when you arrived in the studio here today. You have had to do your supportive too much because I think I was also ranting. So I think you've been too nice or too lenient so far. Is there anything left that that we haven't covered about your frustration?
People who listen to this have praised me or complimented me or criticized me for being the both sidesism, trying to see both sides. That's the way I live my life for a lot of things. But sometimes it does cause a lot of internal angst because I will go back and forth okay, this is why. I understand that. But just a wee bit better, a tench better, blah, blah, blah. And at the same time, I'm like, burn the damn shit down. Like, If you're going to get rid of everybody, who do you keep? Like, it runs. I'm not suggesting we should do that.
That was a peek inside Thad's head there, and it was chaos.
Oh, you do not know how much I can at times be going like, oh, I just want to slit somebody's.
Whoa.
And I don't. Look, I have maintained this for a long time. People talk about, oh, you have evil thoughts or whatever. You must be a bad person. No, I have evil thoughts, and I don't kill the people, so I think I'm a good person because I know it's wrong.
That's what makes you a good person.
If you don't have ever evil thoughts, how can you be a good person? Because you never had an evil thought, right? So that's me.
I think you're evil if you say you've never had an evil thought because you have. And
I think you're a blank. I think you're a blank if you never had an evil thought. But more power to you if you've been good and have always been, daffodils and Betty Ray's ice cream and whatever, right? Good for you.
We're talking about Sporting Kansas City, remember?
You asked to peek into my rant. And it was going all over the place. Like last night, I'm sitting there at like 1 a.m. going, what do we need to do? Do we need to score 3 goals? Oh, that doesn't work. Do we need to change the formation? No, we've tried that. That didn't work. What do we do? Oh, we'll move it to a neutral site and have lots of fans under, a big event. No, that didn't work. Have a rival. That didn't work.
But we didn't lose either game.
Sporting Kansas City is tied for second in goals scored. They're 1 behind Portland for the lead in MLS.
In the Western Conference.
In the Western Conference. They are third in goals allowed, which would indicate that the defense is the problem.
Let me go back to last week's rundown when I said, isn't the defense the problem?
Yeah, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but these late goals are not being scored in the same fashion. It's something weird happens, a unique play every time. I don't know that on all of these things you can point to a defender messed something up. Yes, on this one, Leibold sold out and didn't clean out the guy and they scored.
After he shouldn't even been in that position. It was a lucky bounce.
Also the lucky bounce from that. Like, I don't know how you change that. I don't know how you defend that.
It's very similar to, the debate whether it was Melia's fault who played the ball to Davis out wide against Miami or whose fault it was, but similar situation.
Both of them.
A lot of the time, the defense is doing their job. I can't believe I just said that sentence. A lot of the time. We talk about this a lot where they look good. They'll shut a team down mostly
80 minutes.
And then it's just until they don't. And then they look like, how have they not been giving up goals like this the whole game? So I don't know. Is it the defense? I guess that was the question I was starting to ask.
Well, let's go back. Before Sporting even scored, who had the better chances in the match? City did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amelia had to make at least one strong save.
Which City?
And they had better, XG, chances. So
that save from Amelia, that one you're talking about was insane. It was a header from Klaus. 37-year-old Amelia got down on the ground to get that. What a save. Not a tree.
So, you go back to that and other instances during the match. We allowed, 13 shots from City in the first half? I think it was 10. It was 13 early in the second half. So, is that defensive problem? Yeah, it is.
It depends on the shots. And I didn't see it live, and I've only watched part of it back. So it depends on the shots they allow. So 10 shots doesn't necessarily mean it was great chances, but I can't argue that one way or the other. But you can say this about every team, right? So like every team, if every team loses, any time a team loses, they were objectively good for 80 minutes and objectively bad for 2, 3, 7, 10, 12, whatever, that they give up those 2 or 3 goals that they lose by. It's that way. The question is, why is this happening, especially at home? And I think like last year, those 10 games, right? First couple games weren't bad. It wasn't until like a certain point that the confidence dropped, and all of a sudden the confidence is gone. And now it's got to be in their head because, again, we ask them about it every week every time it happens. And now it's like, okay, it happened. We gave up 3 goals to LA in 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever. And now it's like, oh, crap, we got to make sure. We got to lock it down. And when you play too tight, sometimes you make more mistakes.
Robert, I think I realized some of my hesitancy or pushback on defense being at fault is that we are so frustrated with the offense. Daniel
right.
got half a goal. Maybe got half a goal in this one. Polito got off the mark, as you and I predicted. Well done, by the way.
It was the second goal, right? This year.
Oh, yes. Yes. But Polito got one in this game. Good.
Just, basically off the mark. Yeah.
But we have a lot of questions about the offense.
We do.
Sorry, that's a fine.
Can I throw some stats out before we go any further, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Are they good stats?
City had 7 shots on goal. Strong opportunities. We had 3. Their XG 1.9, ours 0.9. So that can speak to both sides of that issue, but I think it speaks heavily to the fact that City had the better chances.
That was for the entire game or just the first half?
Entire game.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily just speak to the first half. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because they had opportunities. And the one header you're talking about that Melia made the big save on, obviously that was probably a 0.6 or something. I don't know.
Bringing it back to the Peter Vermes discussion, it was all about subs. That is the number one thing you see people complaining about. How could he only make 1 sub? Again, we kind of had this discussion last week. I get that. But if you notice, everyone that complains about this, all they say is that they wanted more subs. You don't hear he should have subbed this guy in, and I think that that's telling, and that's kind of my whole point. Yes, would I love to see more subs of this aging roster? I absolutely would. But do I think Vargas or Memo change that game? I don't really believe that. And again, like I said, how do you take out Daniel Shallowy, who just got his first taste of a goal? And I don't know. I don't know how you do that in a game like this.
Peter was very close to making a sub before that goal was given up. Did you see who was standing up there?
I did not.
Kyrie Shelton.
Oh, wow. Who was he coming in for, you think? We'll never know.
Polito? I don't know. I really don't, or Shallowy. That would have been my guess.
But I think the key part of this discussion here, and for the Vermes detractors, is that's not my defensive MO. Who should he sub? Because he's the one that built this roster. He's been very vocal about wanting to step away from this role. They even brought someone in, and we said hell no to that guy. So they're still without that, and this is still the roster that he built. And that is a problem.
If you remember at the end of last year in the offseason, he's like, we need to strengthen the bottom of our roster.
Yep.
And we were thinking maybe Afrifa and Vargas were that.
And Memo.
Right. So has the bottom of the roster been strengthened?
It all seems exactly on track for what we should have expected. The team did not change a whole lot from last year, except losing, a key player. And we felt like they should bring someone else in. They didn't. So they are about as good as where they were last year, which is a second round of the playoff exit.
Acquisitions are complicated, and I'm sure it wasn't for the lack of trying. We all know that. But looking on this bench last night, who would you, which you're getting to, Cody, who would you have brought in to change the game? I mean, there's
no
really
game changers.
Nobody there.
Well, initially it wasn't somebody who needed to come in to change the game. Russell came in to change the game, and they did
54th minute, so yeah.
But at a point when they had a lead, that's when maybe you throw some fresh legs on to
Possibly, yeah.
And Vargas is a guy who, as much as we want to see him play, he is a get the ball, run fast, go straight, shoot at goal. He's not a defensive juggernaut that's going to help lock things down. Now, it's great to have that outlet, but then you have to shuffle everybody back else to be back. And this isn't necessarily, again, the defensive Peter as much as just the situation they're in. Vargas is the one guy I would probably bring in because Afrifa hasn't impressed me as much as I would like him to. Who else was on the bench? Kyrie. He's a guy who could have come in and at least helped with some headers, some defensive headers, but it never really got to that point because he was standing there for a while. They had to put the penny back on because the play was not going to where they had a sub opportunity. And by the time they could get him in, it was, hey, throw the ball forward.
Or you go to 3 center backs, pull off a forward, and try to hold on.
Yeah, but then you get criticized for playing prevent defense and giving up a goal from a set piece. I mean, it's...
But maybe that goal doesn't happen. Nobody knows, right?
Exactly.
My point about the acquisitions comes back to the parity of MLS. We knew they just needed maybe one guy, one extra slick midfielder. And then this year, without that, the margins are so thin. Look how close we are, Robert. Look how close. It's entertaining, but it's not quite there.
And we made this point earlier this week when we were previewing the game. No Gadi Kinda. Kinda has those abilities to do special things, to attract defenses to him, to play off to other players, to change the game in that way. We do not have that player right now.
So that's what I'm saying. You look at this from an objective view from a long way away. We said they needed one player that would make, an impact here and an impact there. And with these thin margins, had they done that, this team could have, 15 more points. Or actually, what is it? It's 14 total dropped points and 12 dropped points at home. But it's not even just about the dropped points. The margins are so thin on all of these. One other player, if you just add the addition of one valuable player, however much better that makes us as a team, we would have many more points. So I think things are going exactly the way we would have expected. It's going in a very frustrating manner, but this is about what we could have expected. They're not the worst team. They're not the best team. And as we see it right now, none of you would be surprised about a second round, first round exit in the playoffs, right? Unless they get someone in the summer transfer window.
So the acquisition of Memo Rodriguez was a typical Sporting acquisition.
And it was good.
We can't get the guy we want, so we're going to get a retread and hope he fulfills the bill. Well, I know he was coming off an injury, but if he's supposed to be the guy for that role and he wasn't put in the game last night, that might tell you something.
It's a really good point, because we've talked about Memo is a good addition. Like, he does what Vermes wants. He's versatile. He can do all of these things, but it was a bit of a consolation.
And he hasn't looked bad when he's played. I mean, and he's looked actually pretty decent, better than I expected, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
he's been decent. Yeah.
He's not going to be a Gotti because he doesn't have the top end that Gotti has appeared to have when he's played at his best. But Memo, I think, because he's also come off a bit of an injury, so that may have been, there's that choice of you bring a guy in when you know he's not at his best, put him into situations. There's a lot that goes into that stuff, which we don't always know exactly how the guys are just because they're on an availability list.
I think it is clear that you and I and Robert, none of us are at this point yet, because we see the merits of this team. We've talked about the thin margins. They bring someone in the summer transfer window, and this team could be really good. Some of these, dropped points are converted into wins. Thin margins, man. I can't say that enough. That's what this is all about. And it could very easily, the second half of the season, go the other way.
Everybody involved knows how this all works. Peter is the man in control. As fans, it's our responsibility. As people who analyze these things, it's our responsibility to question those things. That's how this works. We all want the same thing. But, we've got to do our part, and Peter's got to do his part, and we just hope we all do it well.
So I think it is clear we are not at this point, but messing around before the show, Angry Thad here did get to the point, and we're doing this on the air. After we've established, that's what I established that we are not at this point, clearly. But it was kind of fun when Thad said, you know what, if we just burn everything down, who do you keep on this roster?
One player. Name him.
One player. And honestly, it's such a good, before we even get into it, it is a really good discussion, because you and I see that this team could be good. I think you and I are very much on the same page here. One addition, one key player, and this team could be one of the better teams in MLS, and they could be very successful. But at the same time, you ask me this question, one player to keep, there's not many more than one that you start over with. We're truly starting over. There's only a couple that it's like, yeah, I got to keep this guy, and we're starting all over, which is not good.
I'd say there's probably 3 options. And I think we might all actually pick a different one, quite honestly.
I say Tommy, Voltaire, and...
No. Thad asked one.
Oh, okay. I said Voltaire.
Wow.
Cody?
Wow, you don't even like Tommy, huh? Okay. Well, my heart, if we're just starting over, my mind goes young. And so my heart says Logan and Denbe.
And I go Tommy. I'm just happy with Tommy right now. So.
Those 3, yeah. Those are the 3, I think, right? Who else? I mean, Shallowy, Daniel's another one, young enough that has shown enough that...
As much as I like...
Trying to talk myself into that, but no one else in the studio really agreed with that, I don't think.
He would be down the list a little bit. I mean, he's not I don't think he's in the top 3. If you were going to burn everything down, okay, of course you can't, and of course this is not like what I really want to happen or anything like that. But if it was like, oh, my anger, I just want to get rid of everybody.
Yes, we can be emotional fans sometimes. You're a human being, and you came in here all fired up, and it was like burn it all down. Let's do it. Okay, yeah, that's a good 3 right there. Are we missing anyone? I feel like fans are gonna reply to this and remind us of someone that we're just.
Well, I'm just questioning
forgetting.
your choice because he's coming off an ACL, and you never know with that.
I know, that's why I said my heart.
Yeah,
he's already running though. Yeah. I mean, I'm running by.
Remy is a really good answer to this. In the last couple months, I have a new appreciation for Remy. Not that I didn't before, but man, he is just such an unsung hero in the system of Peter Vermes, which is the key to everything that they do. I mean, yeah, I know the midfield kind of got domed and out-physicaled in this one, but Remy is so important to this team, and he's got a banger in his pocket if you need it every now and then. He can be an enforcer with strong tackles. Yeah, I do love Remy's game, and he's young enough that you could, yes, if we were burning things down,
right,
he would be a decent one to start with.
With new rules coming for this summer window of changing up the amount of U22s you can have and GP and DPs, and with additional GAM coming and all that type of stuff coming, if you have one position to fill that, because there'll probably be one. I think there's a reasonable chance that they will sign a DP or a U22 player in the summer window because of the new rules. What position?
Now, clarify, this is the U22 or just what position the number one position I want them to bring in a new player or a DP?
Position to bring in a new player. Could be a DP, could be a U22.
I'm not even necessarily basing this on the need of the team, but it's what I've been saying since the offseason is a central midfielder. That's what you need in this league. So many teams have that and can dominate with that. And as good as Eric Tommy's playing, I mean, he's been on the wing. He hasn't been playing a central midfielder, and he's scoring goals. Like, Eric Tommy's fine, but I don't think he's necessarily the CAM of a top MLS team.
Robert?
I can't say the same answer as Cody.
No, go ahead. I don't care.
Yeah, definitely.
How does that help our defense?
See? That's what I mean.
You keep the ball. You don't give the ball. You know how many giveaways we had last night? We gave the ball away so damn much.
Because they were good. They got bodied in the midfield. A stronger midfield, they don't. Yes, that's a valid point.
Well, not playing a team that just has a license to foul, too. That would help.
Okay, so you posed the question.
Oh, I'd do the same one. Probably a midfielder. Let Tommy go out to the wing. Let Johnny come off the bench more often. Give Vargas a little more opportunity. Play a little more rotating with Polito and Agata.
Well, Thad, you asking that about how does that help the defense, I'm telling you, that's why I thought that was such an interesting discussion. I don't think I was fully expressing what I was getting at there, though. But the numbers look like it would be the defense. We score all of these goals, and we concede all of these goals. So it looks like if you just cut the conceded goals down, it's fine. So I understand someone just saying the defense is the problem, but how often do we talk about this team and have so many other complaints about everything? We just had a whole discussion about where do you bring someone in, and it's not on the back line.
Which is part of why I asked that question, because it's never as easy as saying, oh, the defense sucks. Fontes is a fine player. Rosero's a fine player. Leibold's a fine player. Davis is a fine player. People in front of them being a little bit better, a little more organized, a little something else helps. Obviously, there's a problem at every single spot right now with Sporting. Every single spot. Every single spot has had some issue that we could have done better at. Tim could have come out better, could have stayed on his line, whatever. Every single player. But it also means that if you're going to try to be better, you got to figure out where that spot is.
But I would, second choice would be either winger or a wide back. But the reason I don't say wide back is because we've got Logan coming back. And he showed he was a better player than Leibold overall. Leibold's not bad, but defensively he's stronger. So that's the hope there. We're going to get to see Caden probably in the next match. I hope we do. So we still have that potential there for Davis Pierre on the right back. So that's why I wouldn't go to defense distinctly because of those factors.
Basong hasn't actually been bad the little bit he was in either.
All right, we're back. Positive things to talk about, Thad. The current, insane right now. A Bia brace, Chawinga brace. Those two are just, that looks so deadly up there. How is the rest of the league supposed to stop that? I know we're going to concede goals on set pieces, but oh my God, those two, like that just looks like they're going to dominate this league.
When I looked earlier, I know I think there's some games playing right about now. The Current had 17 goals. The next closest team had 10.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And
I know that's not sustainable, but I mean, there's nothing about Chawinga's game that looks like it's not sustainable. She's going to do that every game. She's going to get loose. She's going to run around the field and run past somebody with a ball at her feet. I mean, that chip, if she's got that in her game, what the hell? It just looks like she's varsity playing with JV.
And Bia, I mean, she's...
Oh,
I mean, I don't want to be too effusive, is that the right way to say that word, with praise, but damn, I just really like how she plays. And,
she is big and strong and physical and hungry.
And, you know, because 2 games ago, she made that beautiful pass to Timois. And this game, they just kind of like pass to each other, make the run, pass to each other, make the run, pass to each other, make the run. And when it works, they just like roll through the defense.
I didn't actually introduce this the right way. This was a very cool night in Kansas City. 2 sellouts for the soccer capital of America, for the women's game and the men's game. And even the Royals are not terrible anymore, and there was like almost 30,000 people that were there. Good job, Kansas City. I was just very excited to get to this game, but 2 weekends in a row.
And it wasn't like earlier in the year where they were a couple hours apart, where you could go to one, finish, have a little break, and go to the other one. This one was overlapping, so this was not like the same people went to both games.
And shout out to the Kansas City Soccer Journal, the known independent coverage for Sporting Kansas City and soccer in Kansas City, who had reporters at both games.
We did.
Even a photographer at both games.
Only halves. But yeah, Cindy was the writer for the Current game, and Chad, I think, did the recap with Robert also up in the press box for the Sporting game.
Man, if only a newspaper could get enough staff to go to both games.
Yeah, they don't care.
Man, we cover the team pretty good. The Soccer Journal does.
I actually am pretty proud of the fact that we had people at both games covering it specifically for that game. I need another photographer that can get to these things and get the photos up. But other than that, I think we did pretty damn good.
So 5-2 over Bay FC, undefeated through 5, 4 wins and a draw, Thad.
And some exciting games at home.
3 wins, 3 games at home, 3 wins in the new fortress.
And they're on the right track of slowly eliminating the late goals given up path.
Okay.
And it's not just the 2 guys, 2 players tacking up front. It's that midfield. I mean, Feist has come in and raised the level of the team, with her presence, I believe. And Hutton, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like we were talking to Sperry last night, and he's like, he had to keep reminding people around him last night while he was at the game that she's only 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In her 5th professional game. Again, I haven't seen the stats on FBref because they weren't out yet for this weekend's in the WSL games, but I was looking at them on Friday, and she was at like the top 4 for tackles in the league, top 4 for duels won in the league. And it was just like stat after stat after stat. She was in the top 3, 4, or 5. As a rookie, as an 18-year-old, going up against some of the best players in the world. I am really impressed with Claire Hutton.
And I thought it was pretty cool that last week they made an appearance at like Hy-Vee, so they're reaching out the community too. They're humble enough to do that.
Oh my God, did you see that baby they took a picture with? Yeah. Oh, that was such a cute picture. I was like, God, that is a cute baby.
And then they had a drone show after the game, although apparently it didn't go off very well.
Oh, really?
Oh, it didn't?
I saw an apology from the drone company on social media saying, sorry, we'll do better.
Really? Yeah. Working the kinks out of the new stadium, but they're getting there.
How about the light show at halftime at Sporting?
That was nice.
It wasn't bad. Yeah, it's nice. I told you I was with a crew of friends. I guess he heard light show. One of my friends just heard light show, and in his head that meant lasers.
Right.
And so he was telling the rest of our group there's a laser show at halftime, and he was disappointed with the result.
It's gonna be like Pink Floyd, The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, man.
There were some flashing lights and the flames, and he kept just going, "Where are the lasers?"
It's like going to the planetarium. That would be
Oh, dude, I had such fun last night. I can't wait to listen back to that rant earlier of just the inner mechanisms of Thad's mind. Because I feel you, man.
I might be put on a watch list after that, man. I
Yeah,
don't know.
you might.
All right, so fun at the Current. They scored 2 in the first half, 3 in the second half. Bia, Timois, Braces, Feist doing well. A lot of players doing really well. All that was good and fun. Also, the Comets.
There it is.
Just trying to make sure we don't leave them out. They won the other night in Milwaukee.
Game 1 on the road in the playoffs over the Milwaukee Wave.
And your boy scored in the last 30 seconds.
Rigid got the winner. I watched, the highlights were hard to find because it was on Golazo, and they just never posted those. But the Wave, if you guys were looking for those, the Wave posted a YouTube video that has highlights and different angles. And the announcer for them, it was just like, there it is. Like Rigid scored. I think he hadn't scored yet. They knew how dangerous he is, and he put that in, and it was just like, yep, there it is. He finally got one.
Inevitable? Is that
He
what you're
is
saying?
inevitable. I don't like his hair, but dude is inevitable. He has the hair of that guy that's like, if he was on your team, you'd love him, and if he's not on your team, you hate him.
Yeah, I could see that. Almost every team in the MASL has that guy.
Yeah, that's true. Nacho does it too. Nacho's another good player. The Comets are fun. It's a good team, and they're hot at the right moment. I have a question for you, Thad. I'll acknowledge my ignorance of the game here. In those highlights, I saw another keeper in goal at one point, and it was on a set piece. And so I was wondering if maybe they send this keeper in for set pieces.
No.
It was just, he just needed a break.
No, Neto was in the box.
Oh, he had a penalty. Oh, what am I? Duh, I should have realized that.
Handball outside the box. Philip Ejimadu came in. Philip is I always say Philip because his last name is hard for me to say, but he's a very good shot stopper, still learning the indoor game. Was actually in the LAFC system at one point. He's a really good keeper. He was
and this is not Neto. This is the other guy.
Right.
Okay.
Neto's been here for like a few years. I can't remember exactly how many. He played at Columbia College, I think, in Central Missouri.
One thing I've always noticed about Neto is the kick saves. Like, he loves a good kick save. And in that last game, I heard the announcers say, like, it's maybe kind of controversial. Like, he gets hated on. No other keepers do that in the league. And I just think it's one other little fun thing about this team that makes it fun to watch. We have this guy that is just very unconventional. He makes these wild kick saves sometimes.
I think he gets hated on for a lot of reasons. There's several teams that really just hate him,
Okay.
and even some Kansas City fans don't like him as well.
So is he not doing more of these kick saves than other keepers around the league? Because he does a lot of them.
Yeah, he probably does a little bit more. But
Kick save and a butte. It's fun to watch.
he's fun.
When is game 2?
Monday night,
Monday night. So tonight, for most of you that are listening, most of our listens come on Monday.
and it will be on CBS Golazo again. And
CBS Golazo!
you like my video from Reggit?
I did. Well done.
It was fun because he was like, I was at the practice, and every time somebody on his team would score, he'd be over on the bench going, CBS Golazo!
Don't we know someone who works for them?
We do. Friend of the pod.
That's why I put
ATM.
That's why I put it out there to see if somebody would retweet it or reshare it or whatever. And then Cody did it better. So
Yeah, we didn't get their attention on Instagram, but that was me pretty much openly begging because I know they are active on Twitter, and I just gave them exactly what they would want to put on their feed. And it worked. We got a retweet from CBS Golazo.
we get any new followers?
And I've heard that video. No, I don't think so. We did from that game. There are people that see, that's what's so good about this inherent rivalry that we have, man.
Yeah.
That just brings people in. Royals and Chiefs fans in this city, or just sports fans, you hear it's KC versus STL, they're checking in. And all of a sudden we have a tweet that's, hating on St. Louis or whatever, they'll start to follow us. So that's just so good for the league.
It is.
No matter how much I hate them and how awful they are on social media.
Interestingly, the MASL St. Louis team is really pretty terrible. Our friend Mike Kuhn down the byline, our statistician for KC Soccer Journal,
Mike Stat
did some checking the other day, and they're almost over their history. They are almost 100 games under 500.
Oh, wait, I thought that was like
Nice.
kind of a legendary team. Are they not?
No.
Didn't they? So they didn't used to be good when MASL, or I know it was a different league, but when indoor soccer was outranking
When they were the Steamers. Yeah.
Oh,
They were good, but they
wait,
weren't.
what's the team name now?
Ambush.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There was the Steamers. There was the Storm. The Storm
Right.
was actually really good. They had some guy named Preki on the team. Top 2 scorers in the league for a while, Preki and Thompson Usian. A amazingly good defender named Fernando Clavijo, who went on to play for the national team and helped start the Dallas Academy.
Just an insane wealth of knowledge I'm surrounded with in this podcast studio. Thank you, Thad.
I forgot way too much of it.
Well, you remembered that.
So
You just didn't remember to say that last sentence into the microphone so it could hear you.
which direction is it?
Okay. So CBS Golazo on Monday night. Is it another like very early game? What
I think it's 6:30.
6:30.
Tonight, when we're recording this, is Chihuahua and San Diego. The last time they played, there was a brouhaha in Chihuahua.
Wow. Well done, sir.
And a former Sporting keeper, Boris Pardo, getting into it with a Chihuahua player. Kind of interesting.
I watched that video of Riget so many times that anytime I see CBS Sports Golazo, I hear him in my head. CBS Golazo!
That was a good one.
I think we've...
Can I
What?
throw one more out there?
Yeah, dude.
SKC2 went and played in Ventura County, and it was a 1-1 draw that they lost in the penalties because they go straight to penalties,
The team formerly known as the Swell Park Rangers. How could we forget them?
which maybe they will be again because MLS apparently wants everybody to not be 2 teams. They want them to be individual teams in their own right.
I looked for a window to include this earlier when someone mentioned Afrifa coming off the bench, and I was like, well, he couldn't because Afrifa did play in that game, right? For SKC2.
He was there. I don't know. I can't actually remember if he played, I'll be honest.
There are several first team rostered players that are getting looks there. It was Afrifa, Shuey,
Sheway.
Damn it. I went for it. I almost didn't even say it, and I said it wrong.
Flores. Rindolph actually scored the goal.
And
Chris
Rindolph, that's right, yeah.
Rindolph. Yeah. Chris. Always go
Okay.
with the name I can pronounce.
Open Cup pairing was announced this past week.
Yes. Are we going? Are we going? I'm going.
I might be down to go. When is it?
May 4th?
Mm.
May 8th? May 8th.
Oh, yeah, I can't do it. I'm going to Florida. Got a wedding.
What's more important, Open Cup or a wedding? Come on, man.
I don't know.
Well,
but
if you ask MLS,
Buddy
they would
getting
say
married.
wedding.
Buddy getting married is pretty important. What round? Then a 5th round, 4th round, U.S. Open Cup. What round are we in?
16, isn't it? Round of 16?
Yeah,
Oh,
4th
that's how far
round
we're-
of 16.
Well, I have confidence in my team because they play very entertaining that they're going to get this win, so I don't even need to go to it. It would be fun, though. We've talked about our friends of the show from Union Omaha. We did a joint pod with them. They traveled really well. That's one of those good things about lower tier soccer. We like Union Omaha.
We should get them into the studio, into at least on a call, rather.
Yeah.
And, rehash that and talk again because they were really good people. Also, another idea for Sporting to help maybe win some fans back or alleviate a little bit is they should probably charter a couple buses to go to Omaha.
That's a good idea.
That would be good. How long of a ride is this, Thad?
3 hours-ish.
Oh, wow. I was thinking so much longer. You can drive to Springfield in 3 hours.
Yeah.
You can get to Omaha in 3 hours from here?
Yeah.
Whoa. In my head, that was so much further away.
I'm not sure what part of Omaha it's in because it's the different stadium than they were playing in.
Man, I definitely would go then if I wasn't leaving town.
We'll just go the next time your friend gets married.
Okay.
Just under 3 hours from where we're at right now.
All right, and then next up for Sporting, I know it's very early in the week, but it is Minnesota United. Look how far our rivalry has come. We actually have a real rivalry now. But then, back to Minnesota United, our old former rivalry this weekend.
It was never a rivalry.
Yeah, we're going to have to start Reynoso. Oh, wait, no, we don't.
Yeah, still no Reynoso for them, right?
That situation has gone from bad to worse.
He's not even in the country. It looks like it's not going to happen for them. Any final thoughts?
I enjoyed the match, but I would have enjoyed it a lot more if we had won.
I know I said it multiple times, but I do want to reiterate it. I enjoyed the past 2 games are just beautiful nights of soccer, big weekends of soccer in this city, how far we have come. I'm happy about all of that. But that game sucked.
See, I'm just in the I can't be happy about it unless the team wins. So
What are we doing?
Sporting!
The other side don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood